Wow, I just woke up this morning and all those corals are still on my head. My name is Goran and you guys are watching Reef Under the Roof YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed and like this video, just go ahead and do it. It's right there. It's right there. Just a little, nice little tap. Tap, tap. All done. Thanks a lot. With all jokes on aside, let's go check out Justin's corals. Let's go.
I am Justin Hester. Reef Nation is what my partner and I run. We've got a couple different systems. I'll give you a little bit of a tour today. Been in the reef keeping world since probably 1999, I think was my first coral reef tank. I actually grew up back in New York. So I was a little kid filling up buckets with starfish and seahorses and taking those things home and keeping them in tanks and stuff when I was a little kid. And when I moved to the Midwest and went to college out here, I really missed the ocean. And living in Wrigleyville, there was an aquarium shop a couple blocks south of our apartment. Went down there one day and I think it was some xenia and some yellow tangs that I saw. And I was very interested in how people were keeping these things in captivity.
Is that shop still there?
I don't think it is. I
used to live close to Wrigleyville over there.
Yeah,
I've never seen a shop over there, so.
I'm trying to remember the name of it now. It was south of Belmont on Lincoln, on the east side of the road.
Okay.
And we were up by Roscoe and Bosworth, so I'd walk down there or ride my bike.
All right, cool.
My first tank was a 75 there, full of xenia, and I think I even bought some Aptasia back in the day. I think they were brown anemones. But got the bug from there and upgraded to a 135, where I think it was around 2001, my buddy was leaving Chicago and sold me his 135, and we moved that from his little apartment on Surf on the 5th floor over to my condo at the time. And we imported about 300 pounds of live rock from Tampa Bay saltwater back in the day. They used to put that rock out in the ocean and then cure it up. So I had a tank full of mantis shrimp and crabs that nowadays would eat all my corals, and we thought it was the coolest thing in the world. Then we lived up on the north side for a few years when I had my 135. I really have to credit, those of you in the Chicagoland area, if you've been around for a while, Menard is a kind of a legendary name in the Chicago coral scene. Man, he showed me everything I foundationally knew about water chemistry and alkalinity and just how you needed water motion and the lighting, and really just kind of got my foundational knowledge. And then, just really got the acro bug and SPS bug after that. I can remember, I think the first mail order thing that I had bought from Tyree or somebody out on the West Coast at the time was the original Superman Monty when that came out, when there used to be a $300 coral frag. When those colors were first seen, it was just mind-blowing. And to think how far we've come in, gosh, probably almost 20 years now, it's nuts, all the Indonesian things that are being found out there, and even stuff from all the other areas too.
Right. Even right now, they're bringing in just crazy
It's
things.
wild.
Right, yes.
And some of these we've grown from those early 2000s. We've got the ORA German stag that's been with us forever. The cooler champagne, that, pretty corals that originally started growing probably in the mid-2000s, I would think, maybe
Right.
05, 06. High level of this system that you're kind of looking at now, everything you see in frame is kind of plumbed together. There's a speed bump over here that hides a lot of the piping that's coming from the main tank. Overall system volume is about 800 gallons or so. I've got a 300-gallon main display that kind of is the back of my bar inside. And then the main grow out here, which is 8 feet long, 42 wide, and about 20 inches deep. Should be right around 375, I think, all in. My son has a tank that's plumbed in at the end that we'll show you, that's got all the LPS stuff that we grow, all our torches and things of that nature. And then the sump is my partner's old display tank. This is 120 that we've drilled about 500 holes into over the years and plugged some of them and used others. Got live rock in there. It's all off the ground, so we can still vacuum under it, get the detritus out of there. Try to make things as redundant as possible over the years. This tank that you're looking at, the glass one in front of you, actually Super Bowl Sunday, my partner Brian and I put this stand together, and that Tuesday we moved this tank in. Used to be a fiberglass trough that, you know, anybody in the Chicagoland area who's been out here over the years has probably seen. I still have that trough. I kind of, it's going to be pried from my dead hand someday, but it's not in use right now. And, you know, we light this tank with mainly radions with OR3 bars. For the longest time, we had a couple ATI fixtures on there, 8-bulb fixtures with XHOs hanging off the edge of it.
Right, I've seen lots of T5s first time I was here.
I missed that a little bit, I have to be honest, and you can see I'm playing around with some things with the 400 watt metal halide that, again, I can't get rid of. That goes on for 4 hours in the middle of the tank. Just trying to see if I get different coloration on a similar or the same colony under the radions and the OR3 bars as I do under the same thing plus a little metal halide. And so far we're definitely seeing a little bit of difference on things like Vivid Confetti and a few others. So.
For how long that metal halide has been there?
It's been there pretty much since
the tank was set up?
Yeah, I would say since probably March of 22.
Okay.
So it's August now, so we've got, you know, probably a good 5 months of data on that one. Doing this for a long time, I'm definitely one of those old reefers that misses the white look sometimes, so that's how I get my fix in the middle of the tank still.
Right, right. Let's show off, folks, these tanks behind you, and then go closer to that one and show off the goodies.
Perfect. This is our main quarantine system, so any of the colonies we get in, you know, Indo, Aussie, wherever they're coming in from, we'll quarantine in here. They get 5 dips. We do them 2 or 3 weeks apart just for flatworms and stuff. Probably for the last 2-3 years we've been doing the potassium dip. And if anybody's curious what we use for that, how we do it, I'm happy to explain that a little bit too. Yeah, this is kind of our inbound quarantine system. Stuff will go through there. It gives us a chance to just kind of stare at things, let the corals breathe a little bit.
Are you getting your potassium from Menards?
Yeah, well, Ace Hardware, yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I've got a 5-gallon bucket of it.
I just have a huge bag. So
yeah.
Yep, my local Menards. Okay.
I used to pulverize it, but now I just, in the summer when we do dips, it's easier because I can just let it circulate for 20 minutes and the, temperature-wise it's controlled in here. And in 20 minutes, it'll dissolve even those bigger chunks. I like to put them on the inbound on the power head, and that fast water motion by the chunks makes them dissolve a lot quicker. Just looking at the tank here, a couple tangs. Copper band I've had for about 8 years in this tank. He was a little size of a quarter, and now we hand feed him, which is kind of fun. And my favorite fish, the Achilles, has been with us for a while too. I love in the 8-foot tank they have room to run up and down. You see some familiar faces in here. We've got a couple colonies of the confetti, some no-name Indos, our Lorax over here, which is one of my favorites. It's one of our colonies of that we frag off of. You'll see some ASDs and solar flares, some of the orange acros you'll see around here. And I've got over here some of my my smooth skins, my deep waters. I still love those, the grannies, the loripes, and echinatas, obviously. And a couple of our no names that might be fun to see over here too. This one.
Yeah, it'll be cool if you show off some of the stuff that. Yep.
So this guy here, I've had a piece of Adam up at Battle has a very similar one. It's an Abertinoides, and I think this might be a similar species of it. I'm blanking on the name of what he calls it, but I remember seeing it when I went up there back in 2016, and just bright pink tips and that green, and it's still, this one we got from an Aussie shipment a few years ago, and it's a really fun coral.
You have to stop by Adams one more time, that's for sure. He's not that far from here.
No, not far at all. The purple plasma, again, a coral we've had for probably 12 or 15 years. That's still just one of my favorite corals. Just got deep purple skin. TSA habanero, the voodoo, the cherry corals, voodoo magic. Always a crowd pleaser. Classic Garth purple bonsai over here.
There it is.
Everybody loves that. That's been around forever and ever. And Sally Joe and the rest of them got those going. This is my buddy Smitty. This is his Smitty's tickler. It's a fun one too. It gets these really bright tips.
I can see lots of familiar pieces here.
Yeah, TSA the Fuzz.
Strawberry shortcake.
Strawberry shortcake, PC Rainbow. Joe's Mango Garden, another one. I think we got this back in 2014. This is a really pretty coral too. It has that real deep red with kind of the yellow coral lights on it. Reef Raft Raven, kind of that Millie style coral, really bright red one.
Yes.
Fox Flame.
This has been my favorite in your tank for some reason.
Yeah, cornbread purple tips. It's like a rainbow loomy kind of thing. We've got a true rainbow loom. I used to keep it right next to it. Yeah, here it is. This is the real rainbow loom, and it's similar, a little bit different growth habit, but similar colors. Golden table acro. We've got a couple colonies of that floating around as well. That's always one of my favorites. Gets those nice blue tips under highlight. The purple teraki. Probably one of the corals, we're known for growing over the last 15 years or so. That's something that, again, I think I got that from my buddy Smitty many years ago. And it grows well. It's a pretty steady grower, and really pretty if you like running your white lights a little bit here and there. It's just been great meeting all the local reefers in the Chicagoland area, but also folks around the country. It's been cool to see people that used to buy onesie twosie from us that now have entire enterprises built growing this stuff and doing what we do. It's pretty cool to see how the hobby's grown in the last 10-15 years. The TCK tickler. This is a really nice one too. If you can see that over the top.
Yep.
Really hairy. Really. Yep. Yeah, slower grower, but definitely fun. The Heartbreaker's over there. Pink Floyd. This is another one I got from Adam in 2016. It's the BCF Low 2.0, I'm pretty sure, or it's the Greg Carroll FRO. I got both, and I have to keep them on different sides of the tanks, otherwise I confuse them.
So Justin has a very cool way of dosing his Kalkwasser. I'm kind of more of a basic type of guy. All I do is dose clear liquid, and I max out on that. So I'm just interested in what's the next step.
So I'll show you what we've been doing for probably about 1.5 years now. So like you mentioned, our calc, we do kind of not a super heavy slurry, but because I don't like to have to blow the lines out on the comowers every couple days. I do it every Saturday morning with my normal maintenance, just to prevent any clogs or, having the alk dip because it's clogged up. About a tablespoon to every 2 gallons of RODI, and I mounted this above it so that I can just simply drain it in there every day. So we go through about 7-8 gallons a day. This thing's dosing in the main system at 10.7 mils a minute. A 1 tablespoon for 2 gallon slurry, which seems to be light enough. We run kind of a long line over, up, and into this tank. You can see it drips right here. I like it to be visual so that if I'm over here, I can be like, yep, calc is dripping.
So it drips in the overflow and mixes, and then...
Exactly.
Right, that's the perfect way of doing it.
A lot of people put it in their sump, and then they have to put more pumps in there, and as you can see, I got enough amps of electricity being used here. If I can save a pump and just let gravity do its thing, I'm all about it. So that's kind of what we're doing there. So that's controlled by our alkatronic as far as the alkalinity, which goes to the apex, and you can see that it shows up here. That's really my main screen for the apex. We didn't plan that, but both the pH and the alkalinity right now in the main system are 8.11. We try to keep everything above about 8.1 if we can in both systems. The other system's on the right, obviously, for the quarantine. We actually pull both systems out of this bucket. So you'll see the comower here is off right now because the alkalinity has gone past 8.45. That's where it kind of shuts off. In the next hour, it'll probably turn back on. So
where's your pH? How stable it is? Since you've been dosing Kalkwasser Slurry for a little bit, how safe it is for everyone to use it? Obviously, it's not for beginners.
Yeah.
Obviously, for folks that are looking for that high pH, looking for more growth, what do you think are benefits for all of us that are already doing regular Kalkwasser dosing, us be jumping to this?
Well, I'll say this. If you can do regular calc, clear calc, not hit your daily evaporation, and get your tank's alkalinity needs taken care of, do it. That's what you need to do. If you get to a point, like we do on this tank, I'm even at a point with a slurry that I can't give enough Kalkwasser to the system. And that's why you'll see to the left, I also have the calcium reactor still hooked up and firing. That's going 30 mils a minute. I'm at my maximum evaporation of about 16 gallons a day on this system. So I can either make the slurry stronger, but then I'm blowing out those lines. And so it's a balance of all sorts of different things, right? So you want to target your pH. I don't like it going below 8.1. I try to go 8.15 to 8.3 is kind of where we bounce throughout the day. I'd love to pin it and have it dosed to 8.3. For me, it's just, I've tried doing it and locking it in, and can't get the amount of slurry that would need to be dosed to keep it at 8.3 at night is more than my evaporation. So again, I would have to go to a thicker slurry, which I just have not had great luck with because I have to blow those lines out every 2 days.
Right.
I could probably somehow move all of that stuff closer to the tank, so the come-over to tank distance is like 2 feet. That would probably help it, but that's quite a project. So I haven't embarked on that yet. For now, this is working for me. Keeping that pH above 8 was really, when we started doing that a couple years ago, insane how not just growth rate increased, but corals types in general, species in general, that would be really slow growers, suddenly perked up and were growing faster. A little bit more polyp extension. I think maybe the Kalkwasser keeps nutrient-wise a little bit more in check and in balance, more anecdotal than anything. Yeah, we've run some version of this, whether it was clear or slurry, for like 15 years, but I thought it might be easier a few years ago. I got the Avast, what do you call it? Stirrer, right? Which is great if you're dosing clear, and that's where I would say everybody should start. Do not put it, let's put this out there, do not put it in your auto top off. Do not put calc in your auto top off. The margin for error there it's gonna happen, right? Something's gonna happen where you take water out, and now your ATO is gonna dump a ton of calc in, and your alk and your pH are gonna go through the roof. The pH, within reason isn't gonna kill anything, but that alk swing might if your pH comes back down.
Sure. Which pump are you using right there so you can mix your slurry?
Yeah, so this is something I found on Amazon. Happy to share the link with anybody. And I extended to reach pretty close to the bottom of the bucket, the stirrer.
Right.
The old mustache propeller. And I put that mustache propeller about halfway extended, and it's, again, a little bigger than the one that came with it, and it does a fabulous job. I have it spinning, pretty slow, and it makes pretty nice vortex in there when it's going. So
if you guys have any questions as far as Kalkwasser, just drop them down below. I'll make sure for Justin to see them. He's going to answer them over there on YouTube. I'll help out as well.
You'll also see the 3-part in there. That is just for the dostronic. If suddenly growth, which it does on most days around 4 to 6 p.m. We test alkalinity every hour, and 4 to 6 p.m. is where that ramp for the day for us starts. Our light cycle is 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. So towards the end of the day is, which most people see, is when their usage is highest. So it'll kick a couple hundred mils of 3-part in there just to kind of keep the alk from dipping too much. And that's just a 3-part we mix that's just normal 3-part with the Tropic Marin A and K. We really don't change water. We do run ozone, which, again, be careful with that. We're in a garage here, so it's very well ventilated. My ozone goes into my skimmer once an hour for, I believe, 5 minutes it turns on. And we just have the cheap $60 Amazon one that everybody's probably seen out there. Feed that into your skimmer. I then have all the holes taped in the top of my skimmer. We kind of do that turbo charge with actually both of our skimmers. Not for the ozone reason, but just to keep the air that's coming out of solution, which is high in oxygen and low in carbon dioxide, to keep that circulating around. It's like a poor man's CO2 scrubber, basically.
Right.
We don't need that in here because of, again, well ventilated, and also the Kalkwasser keeps the pH high enough that I don't need to jack it up with anything like the scrubbing media.
Right.
If you need more nitrates and phosphates, feed more. As that food goes through nature's, bacteria cycles,
right,
it gives you everything in the perfect ratios, right? When we start dosing nitrate and phosphate and tinkering with that, I always describe it as kind of an equalizer, right? You get that equalizer setting you like, you leave it. Right. And the corals know when you start to mess with that equalizer, and especially some of the, again, some things you will not know, right? But some of the echinatas and some of the tenuous and stuff, absolutely coloration changes, polyp extension changes, and certainly the growth changes. So for us, it was a combination of that higher pH, but also keeping the nutrients in balance. We keep our nitrates, I really don't target them anymore, but they generally end up around, I would say, 4 to 8, somewhere in there.
Okay.
And phosphate, again, within reason, I don't really care, but 0.05 to 0.15 is
right,
probably about where I hang out on that. The QT is at 0.18 right now, and the colors are amazing. And I think that has a lot to do with it.
Justin, thanks a lot for letting me come over there and just video recording everything and checking out your corals. If you guys liked anything you seen in this video, go and check out links down below. He has a website, he has Instagram, so go and check him out. Few things that happen every single time I go visit nice LFS or a reefer that just has a nice system, nice display, lots of sweet looking corals. I just get that feedback every single time that this is where I belong. I'm not sure if you guys ever tried different hobbies, like trying different pets or trying to do like different hobbies as far as cars, wood, no matter what it is. I've tried a few and I can always come back. Happens every single time. And other thing that happens when I come home, I try to compare their system with mine. I go and look at my system like, all right, it needs a little bit cleaning. These corals need a little bit extra flow. I might need some extra lighting as well. And I start organizing for my corals so I can make it look nice and fresh for me here. If you made it this far, thanks a lot. If you like this video, go and check out the rest of my videos. Maybe subscribe and like, that'll be kind of nice. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. Peace.